find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Breaking true crime news. We have got a true crime legend out on the streets at this very moment and on Instagram.
And
TikTok. The release of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Oh my God. What do you think?
I have a lot of feelings.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings about this?
So I saw a TikTok of somebody saying like, yes, queen, about Gypsy Rose. I was like, I don't know if I'm saying yes, queen. Like, she did plot a vicious murder.
I'm not sure I can say yes, queen, to a vicious murder.
Right? Like, so, but I mean, I think she was under incredibly impossible circumstances. Like, her mom was forcing medications into her that she didn't need. And was like using her sickness to make a living for them. So, you know, I can see how I can empathize with like how she would feel trapped and feel like maybe that was the only way out, but it's still very extreme.
It's incredibly extreme. You know, I think we always want to say like murder is never the answer to your problem. But the problem that she was in was pretty intense. And
it's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, there's always a nonviolent option. But her mother was controlling every element of her life. For those unfamiliar with the case, Gypsy Rose's mother suffered from Munchausen's by proxy.
So Munchausen by proxy is, quote, from WebMD, a psychological disorder marked by attention-seeking behavior by a caregiver through those who are in their care. So someone is making another person sick
for the attention they get.
Yeah, exactly, as a caregiver. So it is...
what was being done to her was also a crime.
It was, yeah.
You know, she was being hideously physically abused, emotionally abused. I saw an interview with her where she was saying how her mother would constantly tell her, you know, you'll only live till 6, you'll only live till 10, you'll only live till 20. Like, having this countdown clock on this girl's life.
Yeah, and using it to control her into like, well, you have to do what I say or you're gonna die, it seems like.
Yeah, so it's just such an interesting situation to be in the national conversation at this moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the like celebrity level obsession.
No.
I think, but you know, it's I'm not sure I don't think she deserves to be in jail the rest of her life for this. So I think she's served her time, and hopefully it seems like she won't do something like this again. I
don't think so.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I will eat my words if she does.
That would be incredibly surprising given the super specific circumstances. But you never know. But I think the thing that fascinates me, I guess, and what has been really interesting about this is that Gypsy is not like anyone else who has been released or has been in the true crime public eye in a while. She is this young woman who is now joining Instagram and joining TikTok. And it's so interesting to see a person like this re-entering society in such a public way.
Sure. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch it play out.
Yeah. And like what she chooses to do with her time and how people choose to view her. I think it's just all something that I can't like look away from, like this whole situation, because I think that it's so interesting. Some people perceive her as a hero, you know, yes, queen, ride or die for this girl. Some people are like, she's guilty. That's it. Open and closed. And I think, of course, you and I fall somewhere in between. But I've just been watching this conversation unfold so publicly. She has an Instagram. I saw her engagement ring.
Yeah, like, oh, I thought they were already married.
Oh, yeah. Marriage ring. Duh.
Yeah, I thought they had a jailhouse wedding.
Sorry.
Anyway, should we start the show?
Yes, I'm sorry. I've just been dying to talk to you about this.
It's okay. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back into it.
I'm ready to come home.
In olden days, a glimpse of femur was only for morbid dreamers, but you're not alone. Bring anything bones. Two goofy gals with deathly interest go on a skeleton inquest in your headphones. Anything bones.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie, 66 million years ago Schwartz.
And I am Katelyn Hart's identical twin sister. And today we are going to take you on a journey on the podcast where we talk about bones and bone-related topics. And it's been a minute. So, hey, Soph, how's it going?
It's going good. I feel refreshed after the holiday times. It has been a minute. I went to Michigan. Wait, when was our last episode?
I don't know. It was a few weeks ago in listener land.
Well, we're back from the holidays in a whole new year of bones.
Yeah, this is January 2024, the year of Bone Town.
Yeah, do you have any new bones resolutions?
New bones resolutions? Well, I want to do a little bit more like reading. So maybe like using more books for sources for the podcast. Chris's brother got me this like true crime tearaway calendar. So like every day you tear it away and it's like a different story about true crime or like a continuation of the story from yesterday. Like It's really cool. So yeah. Chris and I were hanging out with some people in downtown Portland the other day. And then we were right by Powell's. So it's like, well, I haven't been in Powell's in a year or two. So I was like, yeah, I kind of want to go in. He got a book about demonology.
Appropriate.
Which is going to be very sick. And then I got a book about true crime.
Yeah.
And then we also got a coffee table book of like dog portraits.
Amazing. That's you guys to a T. Demonology, true crime, and dog portraits.
Yeah. It's going to be good. Oh, wait. No, sorry. Scratch that. I got a mystery. I didn't get a true crime this time.
A fake crime.
Yeah. Fake crime, but it's all on brand.
Well, that's wonderful.
Powell's is cool. If anybody's never been to Powell's, you should check it out. It is like a giant bookstore.
Yeah, I have been once, but it was a long time ago, so I'm gonna have to go again.
Yeah.
Joe and I got each other lots of books for the holidays.
Oh, cute.
I got him like a special, The Illustrated World of Tolkien.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a big Lord of the Rings fan. So it is like, kind of an heirloom book. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Display that on a shelf.
Yes. Oh, it's on. We now have a part of the bookshelf that we call the fancy shelf, which is where the fancy books go.
That's great. Oh, man. Speaking of, over the break, Chris and I have bought a condo.
Just a little thing. Just a small thing.
Dead ass.
I can't believe you have done this. I can't believe you've done this.
It's bought and paid for. I got the keys yesterday. And so we've got a lot of spooky decorating to do. So it's going to be fun.
I was just going to say, can you renovate it? Like, can you make like a secret passage?
No like big structural things because it is part of like a HOA condo like place. So nothing like outside of the condo can be like super changed.
But what about inside of the condo?
Yeah, if you're like made of money, I could carve out a secret passageway, I guess.
You could be like the tunnel girl.
We're on the second floor though.
Oof, that's a tough putt.
Bummer.
But back to true crime, second floor is a good place to be.
It is, yeah. Oh my God. And we got there yesterday and they left the Ring doorbell. So you have to like get your own subscription, but I already like have the doorbell installed. So I was like, well, yeah, I'm going to use that.
Well, expect to see me mooning that at some point.
Yeah, 100%, please. But yeah, I'm excited to know about the comings and goings at my front door.
Oh my God, yeah, and you work from home partially, so like you're gonna get to know some stuff about your neighbors.
I'm gonna see it all.
Oh my God, I can't wait for the gossip.
Yeah, the HOA goss.
Oh my God, yes. You'll be part of, oh my God, Katelyn, you're gonna be part of a homeowners association?
Unfortunately, yes.
That's insane. That feels unreal, but here you are.
I'm really doing it. I'm shitting in the street.
I'm so proud of you. You just pulled your pants down and did it.
Yeah. So it's gonna be good. I'm just while we're bragging,
Yes.
I also hired movers today, so I'm feeling very accomplished.
Jesus, you are like a real adult, Katelyn.
I'm on fire.
You are. You absolutely are. You're head bitch in charge. You had, for a short time, employees.
Yeah, very short time.
Very short time. A matter of hours. But
Yeah.
let it stand.
Let the record show.
Queen Katelyn, her reign was real. People may deny it. It may be struck from the history books. But I will tell the tale
You will know.
of the strong men who moved the furniture.
And I paid them to do it because fuck that bed and the horse.
You did the
It
bed
came in on.
without me.
I'm going to have to, yeah.
Aw. I have helped Katelyn move her sleep number bed.
Giant sleep number bed.
How many times?
At least twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah. But it's fun because it involves magnets. And you
Yeah.
have to put a dishcloth between the magnets so that they don't magnet on each other.
Yeah, it's really wild. It's like a glorified air mattress for people that were wondering.
Yeah, but when you got it, boy, did we go to town going up and down and going full taco.
Full taco. Which is what the sleep number people called it in store when you bring, because the bed is like a hospital bed, so it can, like, the front and the bottom can go up. And so when you have the feet and the head as far up as you can go, it's called going full taco.
Which is like, in the
And you're
context,
the taco meat.
Yeah, you're the taco meat. Oh my goodness. I've completely forgotten about full taco.
Yeah. You were a taco for a short time.
Oh God, was I ever. All right. Should we get to the freaking bones already?
15 minutes in? Yeah, why not?
I mean, come now. It's been a while. We have to
We
get
had a lot to catch up on.
reacquainted. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you shared your new bones resolution, which was to do more reading and to use more books as sources. My new bones resolution is that I want to talk more about dinosaur.
Okay. Hell yeah. I'm on board.
For me, at least, paleontology has been woefully ignored in this podcast. We've been like, oh, people bones, dog bones. Dinosaurs. They've been right there and they've been roaring.
They've been just under the surface this whole time.
As I have learned doing some dino research, some of them might in fact have been chirping.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So I really want to get more into paleontology, fossils, dinosaurs, things of that sort. That time before there were people
Okay.
is nutso butso. Want to know more about it.
Old weird shit. Got it.
I said to myself, Sophie, could we go older? Could we find bones that are even older?
I need the oldest bones I can find. Google.
Google was like, these ain't the oldest, but this is a good place to start.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
got
thank
you.
you, Google. Well, initially, I saw this on TikTok because
Classic.
yeah, of course. I love me some paleontology TikTok. Oh my God, I just dropped my phone.
Yeesh. I've done that twice today. What the fuck?
I don't know, got the dropsies. And not the historical disease dropsy.
I know. I was like, isn't that something really bad?
I think so. I always mix up what dropsy is. I feel like it could have been like anything.
Listeners, drop in the comments what you think dropsy is.
Give us a dropsy. All right. So I will do my sources before I begin to approach what I'm going to talk about.
Okie dokie.
So we've got one from the BBC, 2 from Wikipedia, 1 from CNN, 1 from Smithsonian, and 1 from science.org. So I want to talk about the Tanis fossil site. And this is a fossil site in North Dakota.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is a place I traveled through in my road trip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see any fossils
I did not see
on
any
the side of the road?
Oh my God. I did not see any fossils on the side of the road, but we did in Wyoming, which I believe part of this site is in, I think, Montana and Wyoming as well, or connected to this site, our sites in those states. And in Wyoming, we went to this place called the Devil's Tower, which is this amazing rock formation that I think is about 1,300 feet tall. It's made of like these rock columns formed from when it was previously a volcano. And then the volcano part on the outside, the mountain part, fell away due to erosion. And the lava that had hardened on the inside just remained.
That's really cool.
Isn't it? So,
yeah.
So we were like, gotta see that. And then we did quickly go to Mount Rushmore because we were close and the signs
Just
kept
to
saying,
yeah.
Go Mount Rushmore. We were like, we don't really want to see a bunch of old croggy slave owners carved into a rock, but we're gonna do it. And
It's right there.
it's right there. It's pretty fucking magnificent. If you look at it, it's like, whoa, that is really big. Wish they hadn't stolen the mountain from native people to make it.
Would have been dope.
Would have been dope. Mountain, super important to all the local tribes and, all the local nations. And they just took that mountain and carved up a bunch of old white slave owners on there. So, you got to look at both perspectives.
Definitely. It's weird that it even exists.
Yes, it is weird that it exists. Thank you. And we drove almost up to it. This was at night, so it was lit up by the floodlights, which was beautiful. And we were driving, and we were like, shit, we have to pay to get in, to go any farther than this point. So we may or may not have done a U-turn in front of those great founding fathers and presidents.
Say, fuck you, I'm not paying for this.
We did. We flipped him a bird while we flipped a shitty.
Perfect.
So, among the such great landmarks are rich fossil zones in this part of the United States. The U.S. is pretty hot for dinosaur fossils, actually. And so this site was originally discovered in 2008 by the University of North Georgia professor Steve Nicholas and field paleontologist Rob Sula.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. I mean, and if you want something that's cool, it's part of a region called the Hell Creek Formation.
Jesus.
Yeah. So if you're looking to go down the Hell Creek to find some dead-ass dinosaurs, that's where you got to go.
This is the spot.
This is the spot. So this region is known for many significant fossil finds from the Upper Cretaceous and Lower Pleistocene eras. And the team that originally did the research here ended up finding a lot of fossils of sturgeons, paddlefish, and bowfish.
Sure. Sturgeon I've heard of.
Sturgeon? I barely know him.
Oh my God.
So these fossils were then sent to the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago. And at the museum, they looked at these fossils and they were like, actually, guys, what you have here is kind of important. We should maybe look into these fish a little bit more. And they were like, you know what? We'll hand stuff over to Robert DePaula, who was a graduate student at the University of Kansas, and we're going to send him over to do some more excavating. look around. And so from that time onward, over several years that started in 2012, De Palma worked at this site in secrecy. He was like, don't tell anyone what we're fucking doing here.
What, do they have like tents up? What's going on here?
They just weren't telling people what they were up to. They were like, yeah, we're digging for stuff.
Okay. There's not a lot of people in North Dakota, so I guess no one cared.
Don't fucking worry about it.
People just were minding their own business.
Yeah.
I respect that.
This is the next season of Fargo. So what had piqued people's interest about these fossils initially is that they were so well preserved, like even more well preserved than other sites of the type. And this site seemed to be able to show preservation that was so detailed that you could kind of look at the fossil record and see moment to moment what happened, like on a day-to-day basis. Almost.
What?
Yeah, never heard anything like that, have you?
No, like day to day, like as it was decomposing, or
like extremely specific time frame for like the fossil layer that they're looking at. So usually when we look at like fossils layers like this, you would never be able to pinpoint anything other than like within a century, within a decade would be incredibly impressive. So to think that perhaps in this site we can identify a specific day is incredibly intriguing and controversial.
Okay.
So a quote from De Palma here, quote, "We've got so many details with this site that tell us what happened moment by moment. It's almost like watching it play out in the movies. You look at the rock column, you look at the fossils there, it brings you back to that day."
Oof, I got chills.
Now, what day is he talking about? Well, I will tell you, this day occurred 66 million years ago, and it is when a massive asteroid, approximately 6 to 9 miles wide, smashed into the fucking Earth, causing a global environmental change and mass extinction of 3/4 of plant and animal species on Earth.
That's right. Okay. I see what you mean moment to moment. Like, what was... creepy. And also, like, your brain can't, like, compute 66 million.
I can't. That's like a make-believe time. Like, that and a fantasy realm are about as, like, concrete to me. But, you know, one is very real. And we have evidence of it. And, like, just... this stuff blows my mind. So what the claim here is that all of the fossils that we're finding at Tanis died as a direct result of the impact of the asteroid that caused the KPG extinction event. That's the Cretaceous Pleistocene extinction event.
Okay.
AKA the day the dinos died.
Yeah, no good.
No good. And a fuck ton of other shit. Like, there was a hard reset because after this, it was long winter.
Right. Yeah, the Ice Age was just like, goodbye, everything.
Everything goodbye. Nothing can breathe. So we have very few remains, like fossilized dinosaur remains from even as close as like within 1,000 years of this event.
Okay.
So to find something this close is like, it's the thing scientists dream of in the dreams of the dreams that they have.
Sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's no words for it.
It's pretty cool, I think.
Oh, it's pretty cool. So why do we think this, and how could this ever be determined? Right?
Sure.
So let's start with the asteroid. And the site that it impacted upon, which is in the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
Which is like, I remember thinking as a child, like, where's that crater? Like, where the asteroid hit?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good question.
Like, can I go there? Can, but you'll be in a boat.
Yeah.
But so, and this is off the Yucatan Peninsula. And this is almost 2,000 miles away from Tanis, the site in North Dakota.
Yeah, that's That's so crazy that it traveled that far.
Yeah.
The whatever it was, just like rain of fire and terror, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly. And like, other than this being a global event, the way that these creatures were impacted is wild. So what we have to understand about the Earth at the time is that it doesn't look anything like it does today. There was like an inland sea that stretched from where the Gulf of Mexico is now pretty much up to like North Dakota. Tanis would have been on the northern end of it and the impact site on the southern end. So there's a waterway that connects, or used to connect, these two areas.
Okay.
And what ends up happening is that the impact of the asteroid causes earthquakes, which are transported through the rock at about 11,000 miles per hour.
Jesus Christ.
Which would have reached the Hells Creek Formation area within 6 minutes of the impact. And this would have caused large water surges in that body of water that I was talking about that connects the two of them. And these surges would have just crashed on land, mixing up and killing many of the water creatures and the land creatures.
Sure. Yeah, it's all topsy-turvy that day.
Yeah, because the impact of this asteroid is thought to have triggered an earthquake that could have been at magnitude of 10 to 11.5.
Jesus.
Have you ever heard of anything?
No.
I mean,
And I don't want to.
no. And the waves that these water surges from these earthquakes, they could have been like the lowest, like 30 feet. The highest, like 300 feet.
Jesus God.
Yeah,
that's pretty scary.
So like water event that matches the magnitude of a giant rock, a rock that's like 10 miles long hitting the earth from space. So like you said, it's chaos. All the water creatures and all the land creatures are getting all mixed up together and getting immediately buried by sediment.
Mm-hmm.
Because, not only is the water disturbed, but the land is disturbed as well, causing lots of seismic activity. And so, remember we were talking about these fish that they found, the bow fins and
the sturgeon.
the paddlefish. Yeah, the sturgeon. I barely know. The sturgeon. So, these fish, it is hypothesized that these fish that they found died within an hour of the asteroid strike as a direct result of these water surges and the impact of the asteroid.
Damn.
So,
okay.
And how we are able to know that is because found in their gills are what is something called impact sphericals.
What?
These are small bits of molten rock that were thrust up from the crater into space where they were crystallized into glass and then distributed through the air and breathed in by creatures on Earth.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's nuts. And then it's fossilized now and someone can look at it.
Yeah.
Ah.
And the amazing thing is that, and he also, this guy, De Palma, also theorizes that this impact happened in spring. That's important. We'll talk about that later. So these little spheres of like glassized rock from the crater, from the impact, were blown, and descended upon the whole world. So in areas near the impact, we have these sphericals preserved. Some of them we have preserved in amber that some fell on a log closer to the impact site.
Okay.
So we have the chemical analysis of those sphericals to compare to the sphericals in the fish.
I see. And they're all the same because it was the same event.
Yes.
The whole globe. Got it.
Yeah.
Anybody who says that evolution and science isn't real, read it and weep.
Check the fucking spherical stillweeds.
We've got the receipts.
We've got the receipts, and they're small and they're round and they're inside the fish. But moreover, this site, because of this sudden impact and the way that this particular area was, pardon my pun, impacted, we have some incredible fossils to look at.
Yeah.
The most striking to me is that of a dinosaur leg.
Ooh.
And if you'll check your email, you have that picture.
I saw you emailed me, but I didn't open even though it said nothing. Oh shit, yeah, that's a leg.
Yeah.
That's a leg for sure.
So this fossil is so well preserved because they were just boom right in the sediment. You can see the like skin on it.
Yeah. That's wild.
Like what the hell? And this leg belongs to a kind of dinosaur called the Theosaurus. And they were a small plant-eating dinosaur. And this is actually the first instance of them.
Oh, so it was like previously unknown.
Yes, discovered.
Shit.
Yes. And as you can see, this leg is incredibly well preserved. That the like soft tissue, we can still see the details of it. So we can see that it was more scaly like a lizard and less feathery like more carnivorous dinosaurs tended to be. And it's interesting because what Dr. De Palma is trying to say is that the condition of the leg tells us a lot about how this creature died. Because we don't have any scavenging on this leg. We don't have any decay on this leg. Literally, it looks like it's just been ripped off the animal.
Yeah, yeah.
Which probably is what happened.
Ew, yeah.
There are some other interesting finds, such as a fossilized turtle that has a wooden stick through its body.
Oh.
That was likely impaled during this surge.
That's too bad. Sorry, guy.
Sorry, guy. We also have some dinosaur eggs from the site as well. A picture of that if you'd like to take a look at it.
That's what that was?
Yeah.
It's like a dinosaur fetus?
It's an egg of like a giant flying reptile dinosaur.
Yeah.
And they think that the eggs were like more leathery and like less hard shelled because you can see like all these details inside of the egg. It's incredible. But this site just fascinates me so much because we have these sphericals that are like this timestamp for this impact. And it's very, like I was saying, it's so incredibly rare to be able to pinpoint in the fossil record a day when something happened.
Right. I've never heard of that before. Ever.
No, we can't do that with fucking carbon dating up to a point. Like that's insane. And because it is so outlandish, there is a little bit of drama around it.
Oh, God. Okay.
Some people think that De Palma and his cohorts have kind of fudged the data a little bit. And one person that he actually worked with on the site, a woman named Melanie During, thinks that De Palma published so she and him were working on similar papers about this site, and he ended up publishing before her. And in that publishing, he stated what season he thought that the asteroid fell in. And so she speculates that he rushed his data and fudged his data a little bit to get his paper out before her.
Interesting.
So there are, of course, a lot of papers being written on Tanis, and we'll see a bunch more evidence hopefully soon enough. A couple peer-reviewed papers on it. So hopefully, that can add some legitimacy to it. But it's amazing that ostensibly we can put on the historical record the day the dinosaurs died.
It's pretty crazy. And the turtles.
And the turtles.
Yeah. That's I mean, that's just like mind-blowing. It's like you can't even comprehend it.
I can't.
It's just like, what? This happened in North Dakota? Like,
Well, it's crazy because it happened in Mexico and affected North Dakota.
yeah, that's in 6 minutes, too.
Yeah. And like,
That's-
I thought it was going to be, there was a wave that came across this waterway. There wasn't time for that. The earthquakes just hit immediately and they were like, waves right here.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, I hope nothing like that happens again.
Well, one thing that DePaula did end up saying was that it's very good to study mass extinction events of the past to avoid mass extinction effects of the future,
Sure.
aka climate change.
Like, yeah, has anyone seen the movie Armageddon? Like, come on.
It's
Get with the program.
Get with the program. Well, on this podcast, we're always into looking to the past to be more informed for the future.
For sure. Damn. Dino Soph.
Dinosaurs! More dinosaurs in the new year, my promise to you.
Okay. 2024 is the year of the dinos.
2024 dinosaur. 2024 more dinosaurs.
It even rhymes. Shit.
Yeah, that's our year theme.
And while you think of your own theme for your 2024, please enjoy an ad from a Podmoth podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hey, Freaky friends! It's Michelle and Melissa from the Freaky Fridays podcast. We are sisters in separate states and love to talk about all kinds of spooky, freaky, and scary shit while drinking and laughing through our fear.
Join us Fridays as we delve into everything from the world of the paranormal to scary movies to creepy stuff we find around the internet. Subscribe to Freaky Fridays wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Sleep tight.
Make sure you leave the lights on.
Freaky Fridays is a proud member of the Podmoth Network. For more awesome pods, check out podmoth.network.
And we're back. Hi, everyone. I hope that you thought of a good theme for your 2024. We've decided that 2024 is the year of the dinos, but it's also a year of looking back on some themes that I've looked at before in the world of true crime.
Oh ho!
We go forward and we go back.
Hey, bones are a constant.
Bones are always around, and I'm always just fascinated by murder and true crime and the things that people think they can get away with.
It's wild.
So I have a wild tale to tell you today. This is the story of Audrey Marie Hilley.
Oh, that's a great name.
Yeah, this was a person that I had never heard of before.
Yeah, you've got me stumped.
So I looked at Murderpedia, which is the best, crimewire.com, and then LA Times.
Nice.
So she was born Audrey Marie Frazier in June 1933 in Blue Mountain, Alabama.
Oh.
Which was a middle-class, mill town by the Appalachian Mountains. I don't know. Her parents were Huey and Lucille Frazier, and I believe she was their only daughter. They doted on her. Apparently so much so that she didn't really know how to be told no
Ooh.
and threw a lot of temper tantrums.
Oh, that's not a good look.
Yeah. So the Fraziers decided that they needed to move out of Blue Mountain for better prospects for their daughter that they doted on. So they moved to a town called Anniston in Alabama. And so there were better schools there, more opportunities. Marie, by all accounts, was popular and excelled in school. Not a ton is known about this time. Flash forward to 1951, and she has married a man named Frank Hilley. So there's where her last name comes in. They met in high school, as I understand it. And if she's born in 1933, they got married when she was 18. So, yikes. That's just how it was, I guess. But
yeah,
yikes.
I was going to say, at least they waited till 18. I thought you were going to be like 15.
No. They had a son, Michael, in 1952. And then 8 years later, in 1960, they had a daughter, Carol. So they had kind of a long, drawn-out, dramatic marriage and life together. She allegedly was into other men and having affairs.
Oh.
Apparently, she was also very into spending money that they didn't have.
These are two hobbies that don't always make for a good marriage.
No. So basically, we're getting to the meat of the story here. So it's May 1975, and Frank goes to his doctor complaining of nausea and like tenderness in his belly.
Uh-oh.
He gets diagnosed with a viral stomach ache, and then eventually, because the condition doesn't change, he gets admitted to the hospital because of like liver function. Like,
oh no,
like his liver is not functioning.
Ooh, that's bad, but very telling.
Yeah, they diagnose him with infectious hepatitis, and he dies at the end of May 1975.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
That was so fast.
Yeah, it was very quick. But, I mean, probably not for Frank, because that was like a month of just like pain and suffering.
That's horrible.
So there was an autopsy performed. It revealed that hepatitis, swelling of the kidney, lungs, pneumonia, inflammation of the stomach. Because those symptoms are similar to symptoms for hepatitis, they were just like, okay, yep, that's it, case closed. And he was buried and life goes on. He had a small, well, not too small, but, a medium-sized life insurance policy, of course, that Audrey cashed in for about $31,000 after he died.
How convenient.
Mm-hmm. And then, it worked out so well. Just in case, something happens, Audrey decides, I better take life insurance policies out on my kids too. Like, just in case something were to happen.
Girl, no.
Yeah, we're going there.
Continue.
So not terribly long after her father had died, the daughter, Carol, started to experience nausea, like stomach upset. She was in and out of the ER, and her mom would give her these weird injections that she said would alleviate pain, but for some reason they never did. So at some point, Carol started to have numbness in all of her extremities, so she was admitted to the hospital because that's very that could be telling of like,
that's bad,
issues with your blood, your heart. Yeah. So they weren't able to figure out what was wrong with her, though. So they brought in a psychiatrist because he thought that, maybe she was, I don't think they thought she was making it up, but they thought that it was just like in her head, basically.
Okay.
And while she's getting testing, her mother gives her more injections.
No.
But she like sneaks around it to give to her. She's not like giving these to her in front of the doctor.
Well, no, naturally.
This is alleged, those injections. But so a month after Carol starts staying at the hospital like all the time, the doctor's like, okay, so she has malnutrition and vitamin deficiencies, and he suspects heavy metal poisoning.
Interesting.
So that afternoon, after this was like brought up, Audrey is like, fuck this hospital, and she takes Carol to a different hospital at the University of Alabama in Birmingham.
It's so interesting that we talked about Munchausen's by proxy at the beginning of this story.
I know.
This might not be that, of course, but one of the things that people experiencing that will do is once a doctor thinks that you're faking it or that you don't, the child doesn't have the symptoms or whoever it is doesn't have the symptoms, they just switch hospitals, switch doctors.
And luckily, the world is growing smaller with like medical records following you. So
yes,
I hope that that's a little bit harder to do now, but it's still very scary.
Yeah, but it's something that people who have something to hide do.
Yeah, true dat, bitch. I don't know.
I love that. Joe and I always say to each other, I love you, bitch.
Yeah. You little bitch.
Bitch.
So remember how I said she liked to spend money that she didn't have?
Oh, don't we all?
Well, she took it a little further than most and was pretty seriously writing bad checks like all over town, including to try and pay for that life insurance policy on Carol's life. And she got arrested while Carol was inpatient on these like fraudulent check charges.
Oh my God.
So this is all like coming together very quickly.
Okay,
Doctors find these what they call Aldridge Meese lines on Carol's toenails and fingernails. So I guess it's an indicator of arsenic poisoning.
Aldrich Meese sounds like something that you would find in like Skyrim or like Baldur's Gate or like a fantasy.
It kind of does. I'm going to look it up. Gotta see what this looks like. Okay, so it just looks like faint, kind of weird white lines on your fingernails.
Interesting.
Like stripes on your fingernails.
I've never heard of that.
Well, that's a good thing because it's a sign of arsenic poisoning, apparently.
Yeah, I looked right down at my nails. I'm like, am I getting poisoned? No.
I don't think so.
No.
So she's already in jail on these fraud charges. And she's like charged with the the attempted murder of her daughter, October 9th, 1979.
I'm glad they hopped on that.
Well, don't worry, they ruin it. So about a month later, she is miraculously released on bond. And she goes to a local motel, registers under a false name, and fucking disappears.
Of course, because they let her out.
Yeah. They released her on bond, but yeah, basically. So in late November, there was a break-in at one of her aunt's houses. A car was stolen, some clothes, like an overnight bag, and allegedly there was a note at the house that said, "Do not call police. We will burn you out if you do. We found what we wanted and will not bother you again."
And that's when you pick up the phone and call the police.
Yeah.
You told me you're not coming back. Yeah, I'm calling the police.
I wonder who it is.
Yeah, weird.
So in January 1980, we're in the 80s now, so not terribly far off in history from where we are now.
Yeah.
She's indicted, even though she's not there, she's indicted for her husband's murder as well, because by this point they've exhumed his body and found that he also has high levels of arsenic in his system.
I was waiting for the exhumation.
Yeah.
Did you see the crazy look I had on my face when you were like, he was buried? I was like, oh no. If he's buried, you know what they gotta do to investigate.
I bet they're going to find him again.
Somehow.
So my sources said that they found evidence that Audrey's mother and mother-in-law had significant but not fatal traces of arsenic in their systems. But they were dead. So, it probably contributed to their deaths. Could have, no one knows. But yes, they did.
She's poisoning everyone around her?
Oh, yeah, 100%. She's a serial poisoner.
That's so intense. The kids make me
it's upsetting.
Irate. Yeah.
$25,000 to kill your daughter. It's sick.
That's fucked.
And there are some one of my sources said that she kind of had it out for her daughter, like they didn't get along, so it's just gross if that's the case. How do you have
beef with a child?
She wasn't a child by this point, by the time she was in the hospital and everything, but yeah. That was still, her child.
Yeah.
So despite a big manhunt, she remains a fugitive for almost 3 years.
Really?
So here's what she does in those 3 years. She goes to Florida and meets a man named John Hooman. Homan. So Homan, I don't know. And she's going by the name Robbie Hannon. So she and John quickly move in together and get married in May 1981, and she takes his last name. They move to New Hampshire, and she frequently talks about her twin sister, Terry, who lives in Texas. She's got a twin sister.
Oh, does she now?
She does. I just gave Sophie a look. So, what's her fucking name? Robbie, a.k.a. Audrey. In the summer of 1982, she leaves New Hampshire, telling her husband that she needs to go, like, attend to some family business, see some doctors in Texas and Florida. And she goes to Florida. So she goes there. They started in Florida. They go to New Hampshire. And now she's going back to Florida without her man. And she's using the name Terry Martin.
Okay, a third name.
That's her identical twin sister's name.
Terry is here. Terry in the flesh.
Yep, pretty much. So Terry, this is not funny. Terry calls John to tell him that Robbie has died in Texas and there's no need for him to come and see the body because they have donated her to medical science.
Excuse me?
Oh, it gets weirder. And then Robbie/Terry/Audrey, like, dyes her hair, changes her clothes, and goes back to New Hampshire to hang out with John, posing as her identical twin sister of this guy's dead wife.
What does she gain from this? I
Right?
know that she's setting up, like,
Right?
but is she setting up
Who
at this
knows?
point? Or is this...
At
like,
this point, I don't know what her scheme is. This is just, like, where it goes off the rails.
what does she gain from this? I just don't understand. Is it just to torture
drama.
this man?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's just, I read this and I was just like, this cannot be real. Like, this just does not make any sense.
This should be the next season of Fargo.
Yeah, apparently. So, long story short, I'm not sure exactly how, but she arouses the suspicions of the local police in New Hampshire.
Because she's probably doing more weird shit.
And I think there was one of the articles said that, like, John's coworkers were really suspicious of her, and, like,
Yeah.
she might have tried to submit an obituary for Robbie, and, like, they couldn't verify the information. Like, it just, one way or the other, police bring Terry in for questioning, and they don't know who she is. Like, they just think that she's, like, some weird fucking person that is something they're hiding, but, like, they don't know what. She tells them her name, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm wanted for some bad checks in Alabama. So they call Alabama and they're like, oh, we want that bitch back. She's wanted for a lot more than bad checks.
Uh-oh, someone's going back home.
Yeah, so she is extradited back to Alabama, convicted and sentenced to life in prison for her husband's murder. And then she also gets 20 years for the attempted murder of her daughter, Carol.
I'm glad she didn't murder Carol.
Me too. But you know what's crazy? This story isn't over.
Really?
So, the 80s were apparently a wild time. Somehow or another, Marie is classified as a medium security inmate, and she is allowed to do occasional furloughs where she leaves the prison for like up to 3 days at a time and quote unquote comes back.
Excuse me. The woman who was on the run for 3 years is a medium security prisoner?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
The woman who evaded y'all's asses for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever. Underestimate her.
They're like, it's okay.
Let's see what happens. I'm very interested to see how this furlough thing went.
So she tells somebody at the prison, who knows? I mean, whoever's checking this.
Yeah.
I imagine it's some secretary with a cigarette in her hand, writing things down on like a spreadsheet.
She's got a huge hair.
Yeah, massive. And it was just rolling her eyes and saying, okay, honey, get out of here.
Yeah,
Like,
right? She doesn't give a shit.
Audrey says that she's going to hang out for the weekend with John, who, remember, she married John under this false name. And he's like, sure, this is still going on, even after all of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is she not in prison under her real ass fucking name?
He has to know by this point. There was a trial, like
A
all
murder
the, like,
trial.
Yeah, and like
For murder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he apparently, like, she goes to see him and then she sneaks out at some point and that would be the end of the story. And it pretty much is. But it was February 1987, and it was very windy and rainy and cold. And her ass, a few days later on February 26th, is found at some lady's house in Blue Mountain, where she was like originally from. Calls to report that this woman is like on her porch being delirious. So this is Audrey, and she is rushed to the hospital for hypothermia and exposure and dies 3.5 hours after she is found.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how she goes out.
I guess on her own terms.
Kind of. So one of my sources, LA Times, this was published February 27th, 1987. I just love this headline. Husband killer dies of exposure after escape. Black widow caught in her own web.
You know, they don't do journalism like they used to.
No, they do not. Yeah, so she was 53 when she died.
Wow. 53 wandering out in the cold and wind of Alabama winter.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yep.
But also she murdered her husband and tried to murder her daughter and poisoned
probably
her
killed her mother and
family,
mother-in-law and just who knows. There was also like at some point she lived with her son and his wife, and the wife kept getting sick, and then when mom moved out she wasn't sick anymore, so that was like part of the turning point for the son. He was like, okay, this is starting to click for me. So yeah. But yeah. And I can't believe that this all like ended in 1987. Like we came along 5 years later, 6 years later.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Because she was born in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Katelyn, you always find the most wonderful roller coasters to take me on. I could not have told you where that was going.
No, I believe I found it. It was like a BuzzFeed list of like female serial killers that you've never heard of. And she just really stood out to me. It was wild.
She is slippery.
She is slippery. That's very correct.
What the hell was the Terry thing about?
The twin thing makes no sense. It was like just for sport, I feel like.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to tell me that that's the defense that she used, that her twin sister did the murders.
I mean, maybe that was something she was plotting. That could be a plausible, like, explanation, but nothing's ever been, like, I couldn't find anything that
If it was a big part of the defense, you probably would have found it.
Mm-hmm.
So she just did it to be cruel.
I think so.
And to fake her own death for some reason?
Yeah.
Maybe to get away from the check stuff?
That she was under a different identity at that point. It's just bizarre.
She didn't need
to
do any of this, but
no, if she had just like lived with John or like just done her thing in New Hampshire or wherever the fuck, Florida, she probably would have like lived out her life in hiding. But because she like fucked around, she found out.
She got weird.
Yeah, she really got weird.
Real weird with it.
Weird and greedy.
And cruel.
Yeah.
Like she killed off the wife character and then was like, let me go see the sadness. I have to look at the sadness.
Yeah, I need to be in its presence.
Oh, the sadness is her present.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre.
These are the type of people that really interest me.
Yeah.
What motivates you to make that choice? What do you get from that choice?
Yeah, what goes on in your brain to get to that point? Yeah, it's bizarre.
Because it's like a want for attention, right? Like
I think that played into things for sure.
You've puzzled me.
Because, poisoning, and not just like poisoning all at once, like poisoning over time.
Yeah.
It seems to be like you're getting, that you're watching this person like wither away.
And they're dependent on you usually.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a control thing. It's an attention thing. It's like, It's a lot of different things, but it's really fucked up.
Yeah. Wow. I've never heard of anything like that.
Me neither.
That is one of the strangest sprees of crimes I've ever heard.
Yeah. Went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
The life insurance stuff. Like,
yeah.
The checks, the fucking different identities. I'm sorry. That's just, it's rattling my nut.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's rattling my nut.
Yeah. It's crazy. She went too far.
She really did all this. She went too far. She left too far in the dust, miles and miles behind.
She blasted off to the moon and never came back.
Exactly. Well, she did come back to freeze to death.
Mm-hmm. There's that. Anyway.
Coming back to the podcast with a bang from the new year.
Yeah.
We've got dinosaurs and double lives.
Welcome. We're back, baby.
Hell yeah. And I'm so fucking happy. We're going to have a whole new year of bone topics. We're getting weirder. We're getting older.
Yeah. More confident, hopefully.
Yeah. Foraying into new areas of study and new ways of study.
Yeah. Yeah. Things are looking up, guys. I know the world seems crazy at all times, but we got to find the good things where we can.
Yeah, there is levity in darkness. There are bright spots.
Yeah. We hope we can make you laugh and teach you some weird shit as well.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the dinosaur-themed topics. And as always, you can submit topics to us on our Instagram if there's anything you want to hear about. But you're like, I don't have time to research
look at
that.
it for you.
If it's interesting enough, I'll do it for you.
Yeah. DM us. There's a place on our website to submit stories. We love it.
Yeah, we want to know what you guys want for content for the new year.
Yeah.
And as always, head over to those review sections and drop us some 5 stars. If you never heard of this case or didn't know about the impact sphericals.
Yeah, no, those sphericals in the gills are going to fuck me up for a while.
Nothing on this that has lived on this earth goes without a trace.
Yeah. Just goes to show you.
Yeah.
You can, even if you're very small, it matters.
Even if you're a fish that died in an impact 66 million years ago, people will be talking about you.
That's right. And they are going to say 100%. Voyage.
Happy New Year.
Woohoo.
We're back, baby.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter.
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
At Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe.
I saw a TikTok with that leg in it. They were like, check out this cool fossil. And then I was like, did all
That's
this
a
reading?
leg.
Yeah, that's a leg. And like, bitch, you did not even talk about the sphericals. That's the big deal here, bud.
Yeah, that's insane.
I know that's not hot for TikTok, but
Whatever.